Look at this lineup. So today I'll be comparing these three mowers together. Your main focus will be on the Exmark and the Hustler, because I've already done the Hustler and the Scag, but I wanted to have all three here for you guys and give you a real good shakedown on all of them. So I've owned Exmark before. They make an excellent mower. That's what kind of got me on the journey to the Hustler Hyperdrive. And after owning both of them, they both cut really well. This Scag cuts really well, but I wanted to go over some of the normal features of each mower so that you guys have got a really good rundown of all three. And then I'll do a separate video of these two comparing each other. On this Exmark, this runs a Parker setup to where it doesn't have any hoses on it. So I'll show you under the seat. Your fuel tank is under this. You can see your fuel tank here. I absolutely love that. The Scag is set up the same way, so your center of gravity is all in the center. But these are Parker pump and wheel motor, but it's all an integrated unit, kind of like the Hydro Gear unit, but I much prefer this unit over the Hydro Gear. Switching the gears is neat, but it's just not something that's as practical as having a single speed and being able to go fast in that single speed. Yes, in second gear on top end, the Scag Cheetah 2 will outrun this, but this is very comparable to the Turf Tiger in speed. Hustler's Hyperdrive is faster than both of these units, and it has smooth controls, whereas on these units, these are a lot stiffer to push in and out in comparison to the Hyperdrive. But another thing on the Exmark is it runs a single pulley belt all the way from front to back, and you can change it by just rolling it off over here. You just roll it off this side, and then you can put a new one on. So you can do that in the field, no problem. The Hustler Hyperdrive is identical to that. It's a single belt. Hustler's pulleys are a hairline bigger, but that's another thing that's on here, that this runs really big pulleys inside. That helps keep your RPM up when you get into heavy grass. Now the Scag Turf Tiger, it runs one pulley, which just has a drive shaft, but it runs this one pulley all the way around these pulleys here back to the gearbox on the drive shaft, which is back there. And then on the back, you've got more pulleys inside this, as you can see here. To me, I don't get it. When we cut with this, the Hustler Hyperdrive and the Cheetah actually outcut this unit here, which is their top tier model. There's, to me, they're selling it as a unit where you've got the drive shaft as a selling point. But I don't really know that the drive shaft, when you compare all the belts and pulleys, it still has more belts and more pulleys than, say, a Hyperdrive or an Exmark. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't really know longevity. I've never ran one, but I don't get it. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, I know it can't be the torque deal, because if it was the torque, it would have cut better than the Hyperdrive or the Cheetah, which it did not do in the really thick grass. So we'll see how it does against the Exmark cutting in really thick grass. The Hyperdrive has the fuel tanks on the side here, where both of them are under the seat. The Hyperdrive runs Dan Foose pumps and Parker wheel motors. They're separate units. You've got lines running between them. This has really big lines. And then this is set up the same way. It runs Parker pumps and Parker wheel motors. I'm pretty sure these are 16cc. These are 21cc. And these are 16cc on this unit. This Exmark, which something that many people don't know is Exmark does not run really big motors on their units. Their motors, this has an FX801v. I think that's roughly 26 horsepower, 25, 26 horsepower. This runs a 37 EFI. This runs a 37 EFI. So both of these run way, way bigger motors than this does. Now, as far as fuel consumption, I'm not really sure what the difference in fuel consumption is on these. This doesn't seem to drink the fuel. It's a 66-inch cut. I haven't ran this long enough to tell you, but these have the same exact motor. So I wonder what the fuel efficiency is as far as drive shaft to belt. As far as serviceability on these units, this has 2 grease points on it. And from my understanding, one of the parts in the deck is greasable, but the spindles, yeah, there's no grease fittings on the spindles, but you can tell how much more baffled that is than, let's say, a Scag or a Hustler. See that, how much open that is? Both of those are a lot more open than what the Ultra Cut Series 6 deck is. The Exmark deck looks like it might be half an inch deeper, but I really don't know without measuring it. Exmark runs a 24-inch tire, which would be in comparison to a Scag Cheetah. They run a 24-inch tire. Both the Hyperdrive and the Turf Tiger run a 26-inch tire. Both of these have the suspension seat platform deal. This does not have the little rubber isolators, whereas this has the movable isolator seat. You can see there, the seat has the suspension up and down, and then also you've got this that can move on there, where this just has the suspension seat to go up and down. This has the isolator seat also, along with the suspension seat. As far as the deck goes, this will go up to, it shows 5 inches high, and then there's the top lock-in piece. We'll measure all the blades and see where they sit at as far as the height on them at the top position. But other than that, this is going to have the most robust hydraulic system. This not only has the biggest pumps, but it holds the most fluid, and it has the biggest cooler in the industry. This over here has fans on your unit, each one, and then it has a hydraulic radiator here. This has fans on your top of your pump. You can see it down in there. The one thing that I really like is I love how this has one fill port for your fuel, just like the Scag does. I absolutely love that. I don't like the dual fuel tank deal, because then you've got to switch between tanks right here. So, you know, if you've got 12 gallon or 10 gallon, you've got 5 in each. Some people say they prefer this because they'll run it on one side and then they can judge how much longer they can go in the day. But for me as a homeowner, I just want to put it in one hole right there and be done with it. I don't want to have to fill up 2 fuel tanks, and you know, it's easier when you're at the gas station than it is anywhere. Now, another thing I want to show you guys, Exmark and Hustler, it is super, super easy to change the blades on. So let's say you're out in the field and you hit something and you shatter a blade or you bend a blade, you're not going to be able to cut with that. So you can have something as simple as a right angle impact. If you look at my sharpening video short, which I'll put in the bio here, it'll show you how easy it is to change the blades on the Hustler. But the Exmark is the same way. You literally just take the nut off the bottom, and that lets you, I'll show you guys. So on this here, you literally just take a right angle, take the nut off, and then the blade comes off. Super simple. This here, you have to take this off, and that bolt here runs all the way through your spindle. That's something I didn't know, but that runs all the way through your spindle. And I don't think that you could get those blades off without having the whole front of this mower way up in the air. So if you're out in the field and you had no way to lift that deck up and stuff, I think that you would have to take it back to the shop and switch out those blades. To me, I don't understand why you would want that. It just seems overthought, but I'll let you guys be the decision maker on that. As far as the decks go, this has a running strip here, and then you're into where the blades are. So you've got this protector bull nose that runs around this corner, which it goes all the way around the deck, and it's probably a 1/4 inch to a little bit more thickness wise. This has that same deal on the front, which is called a bull nose, and then there's an air chamber gap all the way between here that's literally like 4 inches wide that you can see here. This whole piece, this channel piece, goes all the way around the front of the deck, and it's that wide. So it would take a whole lot more to tear that deck up than it would the Exmark deck. This is the same way. It's got a bigger channel in the front, but as far as robustness, I think that the Hustler Hyperdrive has the most robust deck that I've ever seen. It's just built really, really well. Both of these use the bolts for deck, like your deck system. You can see the size of these, and you can see the size of Hustlers. This is a lot more robust system on the Hustler, but this uses chains. Some people are going to like chains, some people are going to like this. I prefer this. The reason being is it's a whole lot easier to level your deck with this. You literally just loosen the bolt or tighten the bolt to where you want it to lift the deck to, so you don't have, it's just easy. It's a simple setup. This is pretty simple too, but you've got these chains, so if like a chain stretches here, then you've got to run this in to get that deck to where it needs to be at level, which is, you know, it's simple. Both of them are thought out and set up well. As far as your levers go, this has adjustments here, and you can move this up and down. So if you're someone tall, you can adjust these forward and backwards to fit your seating position, and you can undo this and move it and move this up and down with these bolts. This just has the ability to move inside here, and then you can loosen this and you can move the handles backwards and forwards by that. You can see that notch that's cut out there. That gives you the ability to move the handles, adjust them a little bit, but it would take a bolt, whereas that one you can turn it with your hand and adjust it. The Exmark, it just has where you can move the handles up or down, so you can't adjust the levers very much inside the actual rod that holds it. This is carbureted. Both of these are fuel injected units. from looking at it, they all run the same size front spindles and tires. I didn't look at the specs, but these are pneumatic and these are solid. These come with pneumatic tires, which you have to put air in the front, and these are solid. These ride better. These are going to have more life to them if you're running through thickets, briars, things like that. Yes, a briar can poke a hole in those. No, I have not had that problem. Yes, I've run through briars, but it is something that can happen. These are solid too, and a lot of people prefer solid that are in the landscaping business because it's one less thing that they've got to deal with. As a homeowner, I 100% want pneumatic because it rides so much better. This front end will bounce like crazy because everything's stiff on it and it's really lightweight. The one thing that I like that Exmark does and John Deere does, if you look at this front spindle here, you can see that this one's curved out. This one's more angled, so you can get that deck in tighter places than you could for, say, if both sides were sticking out. That kind of gives you better ability to get in landscaping areas. John Deere is set up the same way as this is, and you can get in tight areas with a John Deere. As far as, let's see, blades, they all run 3 blades on the systems there. The seats, that's another thing. So this Exmark seat, it does not have any way to adjust it as far as your back seat. Like this cannot be moved forward or backwards. These can be adjusted on the bottom. Well, actually, no, you can't. So you can't adjust those. Hustler's has the adjustment in the rear so you can tilt it forward and backwards. And then on the bottom of your armrest, you've got these little screws, and that sets your point to where you want this to come down to. So you can set that to anywhere to where your arms are comfortable. Scag is the same way as far as the seat in the rear. You can turn this and move the seat forward and backwards. All of them, you can move the seat forward and backwards. But that adjusts the rear back seat here, and then you can do the same on here. So this and Hustler have the same exact seat. Your decks, now as far as how you adjust the decks, I'm going to go through this because this is very important. On this Exmark, to adjust your deck, you basically have your foot pedal here, and then you can set the lock position, which is the highest point of the deck. That's basically your transport mode. So you've got this little lock position here. And then you've got all these adjustments that you can pick. And your top number, and then it goes down. So you've got 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 7/5, 2, 2 1/4, 2 1/2. So let's say we're going to set this on 4. That's where I like to cut at. You put the pin in there like that. It's on 4. And then you push the foot lever forward, pull this back. That lets your deck drop. Now, it will not go below 4 inches, and it will not lock back in place until you put this locking mechanism back in the area to lock. So if you hit a big bump, your deck will not lock out on you. If you hit a big bump, your deck will not drop down and scalp on you. And the reason I say that is because I've seen several companies that have different setups, and their deck, when you hit a big bump, will either lose its place and let the deck drop all the way to the ground. I've seen that in Spartan, and I've seen that in others. And then you've got others like the Hustler. The problem with the Hustlers is if you're mowing, it will not let it drop below the certain point. So to use this, you've got this number system here, which it's really simple. So like if I want to set it on 4, I know this is 4 right here, and it's got your numbers down here on the side. I let my deck down to 4. Now, it will not go below 4, so you do not have to worry about scalping. That would be more of a thing that would bother me than anything, but you don't have to worry about this scalping. The only thing that you got to worry about is if you're going really fast on this hyperdrive and you hit a bump and your deck jumps, it'll lock itself out and jump back up in the lock position. Whereas, and you won't know it until you get all the way down the stripe and you look back and you're like, why does that look so tall? I had that happen to me probably 3 or 4 times before I realized to check it if I hit a bump and heard the deck jump really high. That's super annoying. It's just one of those features. No mower's perfect, and I try to tell it like it is, but that is a annoying feature. But anyway, the Turf Tiger, it's set up to where it's almost identical to the Hustler, or Hustler set up almost identical to it, whatever. I don't care how you want to put it. But you can go all the way up to 5 3/4, and then you can push this all the way up to transport. And like I was talking about, it goes to I think 6 inches. Now, I don't think that's going to be 6 inches from the blade down, but that's probably where they're judging. We'll measure them and see in another video. But this one goes up to 5 1/2 in the lockout position, and this one doesn't tell what the lockout position is, but it's 5 1/2 at the top, so I'm guessing it's 5 3/4 to 6. Just looking at the decks and where the blades are sitting, they are super close on the Exmark and the Hustler. The Scag looks the highest, so it looks like you can raise the Scag deck higher than either of them. My Hustler came with the same style flap as this, the hard plastic. This had a hard plastic on it. This comes with a, well, it's hard plastic too. It looked rubbery. So that's hard plastic. I prefer the soft rubber ones. I've had 2 or 3 mowers with the soft rubber ones, and you can just fold them up into stuff. Whereas the hard plastic ones, they'll break, or you just never use them because you can't mow around landscaping with them. I don't like the hard plastic ones. I would literally just take that off and put a grass flap on it as soon as I got it. Same way with the Scag. I cannot stand those hard plastic flaps. Just me talking, might not affect anybody, but if it helps you, great. Okay, so other than that, I've ran all of these mowers, and they all cut really well. They're all, they are very fast mowers. Hustler is the fastest mower by a long shot between these two. As far as you taking off, it'll go 0 to 16 mph, and you don't have to switch gears or anything, which none of these switch gears. They're all the same speed. In your controls, you just push it as fast as you want to go, and it goes from 0. I think they advertise 12 mph on Exmark. I think they advertise 12 mph on this Turf Tiger, but we'll race all 3 of these and see which one's the fastest, and we will test the cut quality of all 3. Like I said, I've got another video already showing these 2 and how their cut quality is, the Hyperdrive versus the Turf Tiger. If I left anything out or you have any other questions, just let me know in the comments. Hopefully I can help you out or steer you in the right direction, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Thank you.